Welcome to Bollox Talks and Tangents. I was joking around with you and I forgot what we were going to say.
You completely bollocks it up.
I totally bollocksed it up. So welcome to Bollox Talks and Tangents. It's a great Thursday. It's 6:34 here in the studio.
6:34 p.m., the only time that you should do a podcast.
That's exactly it. That's when the cool kids hang out.
That's right.
So we appreciate you guys being here. Make sure you hit that share button for us. Get as many friends out here as we can. Just good to be back in studio.
It is good to be back in studio.
We had me and Blake had a little vacation.
A little Las Vegas.
Blake's a little older now. I mean, it was a lot of fun. We had a good time. All right, but we always got to start off with our amazing sponsors.
We would not be here without our amazing sponsors.
All right, and
yes,
our whiskey of the week is the peanut butter whiskey.
Oh, yeah. Come on, you got to hook me up with a little bit of that.
Yeah.
This stuff is amazing.
Yeah, it's good stuff. So this peanut butter whiskey, and I actually brought out the facts on this one.
Woo.
I need you to read that, and I'll pour.
You pour.
There we go.
So, peanut butter whiskey from City Gates Distillery, one of our sponsors. It is roasted peanuts mingling with notes of salted butter, fresh coffee followed by a warm chocolate finish. I mocked Troy the first time he tried to give me this whiskey. Mm-hmm. I straight up mocked him. I said, fuck off, peanut butter whiskey.
Yeah.
And then I drank it. And then I kept drinking it.
Yeah,
and then I walked out of here with the bottle.
I had to get Will to get me another bottle.
That's how good it was.
You kept the bottle.
I did.
Yeah.
Look it. City Gates Distillery and St. Augustine Distillery. They make great booze. You got to come try the peanut butter whiskey. I cannot oversell this enough. This is so smooth. It is so delicious.
It's so good.
It's so good.
It's so and like when I tell people, it's like, what are you doing? I'm drinking some peanut butter whiskey, and they're like, what? Yeah. That's not even a thing.
Oh, it's a thing.
It's a real thing. And thank you, Will, for they're a sponsor again. They re-upped again with us. So thank you guys for that. 900 degree pizza and pasta. One of the best pizzas in town. I love their sauce. I think it's the best sauce in town.
I would say it is the best sauce in town.
I'm telling you right now, it's right there, located off Lewis Speedway. Wonderful people over there. Heather just knocks it out of the park. Every time you
open the high school.
You open the box of the pizza, it looks like a picture that they use in an advertisement. It's a pretty pizza.
If we were Instagram people and we were taking photographs, we would photograph.
Yeah, definitely the pizza that we got in Vegas.
Oh, it was horrible. I ate the worst pizza in Vegas. And like, what did it end up costing after?
Like $40.
$40
for shit pizza.
Oh, it was room service pizza. We were watching the game up in the room, and I was like, you feel like going to we did well. We did well pretty much the whole time, which is very rare
for Vegas.
In Vegas, it's very rare. Those casinos aren't big because people do well in the gambling.
Yeah,
they're not that big because of that. So we're like, okay, we're just gonna call it a night, and we ordered a pizza, and I believe if we ate the box, it would have tasted better.
Yeah.
So it was that bad. But you don't get that with 900 degree pizza.
No, you don't.
You get the prettiest and best pizza in town. All right, these guys right here are miracle workers. It's coming around. It's tax season.
It's tax season, people.
Abare, Kresge and Associates. Appreciate the friendship, appreciate the sponsorship, and appreciate you keeping me out of jail.
These guys are incredible. They are the best tax people. You've got to use them. I know out there, I was one of these guys for years. I don't need someone to do my taxes. Yes, I did, and yes, you do. Talk to these guys. They will save you a lot of money, and they'll keep you out of trouble. Abare, Kresge and Associates.
Yep. All right. Ate there the other day, Gypsy Cab in the Beacon listening room. Good. Last night, we couldn't get another person in the Beacon listening room.
Yeah.
It was so much fun. It was so much fun. And it was a lot of the old school people from the Panama Hattie days and stuff like that. You'd recognize a lot of faces. And it was just a good group. We had a great time. And the staff over at the Beacon listening room,
they're
thank
incredible.
You so much for just being amazing and who you are. They get people in and out of there in 2 hours, 150 people in 2 hours, which is amazing.
We had carry out from Gypsy on Sunday. Mm-hmm. It's so good. It's so easy. It's so good. For me, it's right in the neighborhood. The food is amazing. If you have not been to Gypsy in a while, get your butt back over to rediscover this restaurant. It's incredible.
And ask about their daily special for lunch. They have lunch specials for under $10.
Under $10. Yeah. Seriously, in this day and age, where can you get lunch for under $10? And it's great lunch. It is great, great lunch.
McDonald's number one is like $9.99 or something. It's crazy.
Yeah, and it's terrible.
If you supersize it, you can feel your arteries clogging.
Yes, you can.
So, good quality food. All right, another place with good quality food. And
the Irish pub. pub.
You can actually pub crawl within the pub.
Yes, you can.
There's 3 bars in one. They got the backyard. They got Johnny's upstairs, the oyster bar, and then they got the pub downstairs.
I will be there on Saturday night.
I will join you, sir.
I am date nighting.
Are
with
you?
the wife and then another couple, and we're going to be down there. So,
Well, I'm sorry I invited myself
strap
to your
in.
date.
And Troy. Those 2 couples and Troy.
I'm sorry I
It's gonna
invited,
be
invited myself to your date, but
I can tell Julie to sit home.
yeah, I don't think that'll work out well. Please not for my sake.
Please no.
Please no. But check out Meehan's. It's the best view in town if you want to just have a happy hour. Tomorrow, Friday, you kind of slide away a little bit for happy hour. Get up on the deck there and enjoy a good cocktail.
Oh my God, it's incredible.
So
It's incredible.
all right, another place that's incredible and incredible people. Again, Cindy over there at the Pirate Museum, always willing to help, always there. Appreciate you so much being a sponsor. This place is
This place is incredible.
It's a sleeping giant.
Yeah.
That no one knows about.
And when, like, I told the story before, like, I went in there laughing about the gentleman pirate that was on HBO. Then I realized he's a real guy because from the Pirate Museum. It's so good. You can get lost in there. Like, once you start looking around and start doing it is incredible. And then you get to fire the cannons and then you get to see the original Jolly Roger. You learn so much. But my favorite thing is they're so generous. They're so wonderful. They're so involved in the community.
They love what they do, and they love the city, and that's why I appreciate them so much.
Yeah, and all of our sponsors love the city, and all of these places are why we live here. Like, it's as simple as that. These guys make living here better, and so, you know, get out there, support them, go to the local businesses, stay away from the chains. Local businesses, hit these guys up.
All right, guess what this time is? Because we have, I'm sorry if I'm rushing through a little bit. I'm excited to be here because we got a fun show. Word Origins. All right.
Word Origins.
How's that peanut butter?
That peanut butter whiskey is so fucking good.
It's so good, so good. All right, Word Origins. What you got this week?
So my first one, the walls have ears.
The walls
have ears. Yeah.
Okay.
You know, be careful what you say, because people may be eavesdropping. People might be listening.
Well, walls were a little thinner back in the day, and
Apparently so.
and probably I mean, I think this came from like in the old movies where you'd put the glass up against the wall and listen in.
I thought so too, but it goes back to middle 16th century France.
Oh.
Yeah. So the Louvre Palace in France, right, was believed to have a network of listening tubes so that it was possible to hear what was being said in different rooms. And it was believed that Catherine de Medici, who was married to she was the Queen of France, right, one of the most fascinating people in history. She was married to the King of France, and she was all into political intrigue, political plots.
Well, her family was so powerful.
Yeah.
Her family was more powerful than the King of France.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
She was the queen of 2 different countries.
Yeah.
And the mother of 3 kings.
Yeah.
She was unbelievable with the intrigue and the murder and the massacres. But it was believed to be because
It's good to be rich.
it's good to be rich. And she was rich and incredibly smart.
She was, I mean, you know, we talk about like, what is it, Elon and Bezos and those guys right now. But in comparison to that time, they were paupers compared to her.
Compared to the Medicis? Yeah.
Yeah.
You have no chance. But that's where it comes from. Everyone, you had to be quiet because she was listening. The walls of ears. All right, what do you got?
All right. So I got 2. Will you tell me, you point to which one you want me to go with? Which one first? That one first.
Yeah.
Paint the town red.
Paint the town red. Go
All
on.
right, and I'm gonna cheat a little bit on this one
if you're not cheating, you're not trying.
I want to try and get the names right.
All right.
All right. So paint the town red, as everybody knows, it's when you go out and you throw a big party and stuff like that. And I wanted to know where it came from.
Right.
All right. So it came from 1837. All right. The Marquis of Waterford.
The Marquis of Waterford.
Or Waterford.
Sounds Irish.
He was known to be a lush and a mischief maker.
Definitely Irish.
Okay. All right. This one's going to hurt you. He led a group of friends on a night of drinking through the English town of Milton Mowbray.
Milton Mowbray, yeah.
Mowbray. All right. He went on his huge bender. All right. And along the way, they were knocking over flower pots. They were ripping doorknobs off the thing and door knockers off of everything. And they ran into some buckets of paint.
Oh. And did they literally paint
They painted a swan statue in the center city square red.
Yes.
And then they proceeded to paint all the doors red.
That's fucking awesome.
But a lot of people don't know that at that time, in a lot of countries, if your door was painted red, that means you own your house and you had zero debt.
Oh no!
So people were like, "Okay, did they take away my debt?"
Oh, that's superb.
And it came from royalty because how do you say it?
The
Marquis of Waterford.
Yeah,
is the one who did it. But it started in 1837. So now, anytime you ramsack a town being drunk, you're painting the town red. Go out and paint the town red.
I love that they painted a swan statue
Yes,
red.
they painted a swan statue in City Square red. I don't know where they got the paint from. They said they found the paint somewhere along the way.
I like it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say I've done stuff exactly like that, but I might have done things in the same vein.
Reddish.
Yeah.
I painted the town reddish.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, so my second one, big wig. You know, a big wig is an important person.
Yeah. Well, and I'm making an assumption here, like, even at the beginning of our country, they wore the powdered wigs and stuff like that, and people of nobility would wear the big wigs and stuff like that. So I assumed it came from that.
That's what it comes from.
All right. Whew, I finally got one right. I think it's taken me 12 weeks to get one right.
And here's the thing. The most important political figures of the 18th and 19th century had the biggest wigs.
Big wigs.
So, yeah. So you were wigged, but the most important people had the biggest ones. Yeah, simple as that. Big wig.
Because they could afford the bigger ones.
There you go.
There you go. All right. Third degree.
Third degree. Oh, third degree.
Third degree.
Fucking give me the third degree.
Okay. Well, you're on task with it. You want to take a guess of the origin of it.
I have no idea.
Okay.
No idea.
No
I know what it means, but I have no idea what.
I'll tell you what my original guess was, and I was completely wrong. All right. My original guess was it came from a torturing technique. All right. And in old tortures, they would burn people to get them to talk.
Oh, third degree burn.
So
okay,
that's what my mind thought it was. It's not at all.
All right.
It comes from the Masons.
Oh, the third degree means you're a master Mason.
You're a master. But the interrogation and the questioning that you have to go to get your third degree,
right,
is from how hard you had to be evaluated, how hard you had to be, and that's where that term
That's where it comes from. The third degree.
Yeah, the third degree.
And that's when you got the handshake.
Yeah, and that's exactly it.
Wow.
And so, I was completely blown away that that's what it was, because I was thinking third degree burns.
Third degree from the Freemasons.
All along, but it's that reaching that level of Mason, that means you survive the third degree.
Can we do a show about the Freemasons?
I'm going to be a little nervous about it.
As long as they die, I don't end up like Roberto Calvi hanging from Blackfriars Bridge from the 1980s.
Yeah.
I think it'll be okay.
Yeah, I think we can do that.
All right.
So, we can do secret societies.
There you go, secret societies.
Because there's a lot of them out there with a lot of dark stuff. That probably might get us in trouble on Facebook.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Well, unless we get kicked off.
Yeah,
so we don't want to get kicked off. All right. I think we should start with first ladies, and then we do festivals. Or you want to do festivals?
No, let's do first ladies.
You said you went down a huge rabbit hole with
but that's okay.
festivals.
That's all right. Let's do first ladies.
Blake, just make sure you give us that halftime thing so we don't go over on the first ladies. All right. The first lady that I had was our second first lady.
Okay.
She was very politically savvy.
John Adams' wife.
Yeah, Abigail.
Abigail Adams.
Abigail Adams. But Abigail Adams also loved to throw a good party.
Yeah.
So she would throw, they're the first ones to live in the White House. They have this nice place, the nice digs in D.C. and everything. But she didn't get there until much later.
Yeah.
John had to live above a saloon while the White House was being built.
That's right, yeah, because of course he didn't get,
Yeah, so but she was the first lady to live in the White House, and this is like the fourth version of it. It's been rebuilt and tore down and rebuilt and tore down. But Abigail, I didn't realize, I knew she was super political and had a sharp tongue.
Yeah.
But man, she loved to throw a good party, and she would dress up, and she would do masquerade parties and all kinds of cool stuff in the White House. She was kind of a little bit of a cheeky lady.
A cheeky lady. Nice. Well, so I only realised this, and I said it to you before the show. I didn't know this. First ladies did not have to be the wives of the president.
Yeah.
I did not know that. And 4 presidents were widowers, and so their wives never held the first lady role.
One was never married.
Right? Well, so 4 of them were, so, yeah.
One was never married, and one got married in the White
You're right.
House.
Yeah. So Buchanan never married, right?
Yeah. Buchanan never married, and Cleveland got married in the White House. Yeah.
But Thomas Jefferson, Andrew Jackson, Martin Van Buren, and Chester Arthur were all widowers. And so...
Well, and Wilson briefly.
And John Tyler briefly.
Yeah.
So Jefferson's first lady was his daughter. Andrew Jackson's first lady was his niece. And Martin Van Buren's first lady was his daughter-in-law, and Chester Arthur was his sister.
Yeah.
And they served as first lady.
Buchanan's was his sister, too.
Buchanan's was his sister, too, yeah. Incredible. And both John Tyler and Woodrow Wilson had more than one first lady.
Yeah.
Because both of their first wives died while they were in office.
Yeah, and I have...
And they married again.
I have Wilson's second wife as one of my first ladies I'm going to talk about.
I never knew that at all.
Yeah.
I did not know. I assumed.
And I believe Cleveland's... Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Cleveland's was really weird.
Okay.
Because
super fucking weird.
Yeah, really, really weird. Because he ended up marrying his best friend and business partner's daughter.
Yep.
That he also was the guardian over.
The guardian over. She was, so Grover Cleveland took office as a bachelor.
Yeah.
And his sister was the first lady.
This is his first term, and he had split terms.
Yeah. When he got married...
Yeah, his sister was the first lady prior to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When he got married, and his wife was Frances Cleveland, she was 21, so she was the youngest first lady we ever had.
Oh, I thought she'd already turned 22. I thought he waited. I thought he held out.
No. The first time Grover Cleveland met Frances, he was 28 and she was an infant.
Yeah.
And as Troy said, he became her guardian, and she was also the only first lady to be married in the White House.
Yes.
But she knew him as Uncle Cleve. All of her life, he was Uncle Cleve. How fucking creepy does that sound?
It sounds way creepier coming from an Irish accent.
Like, leave me alone. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, give it to me, Cleve. Unk. Who's your unk?
Who's your unk? And so when they got married, he was 49. She was 21.
I'm not hating on that.
No, but he had been her guardian.
No, that's the weird part. Like, and he made sure she got the best education. And,
He did, yeah. And she was tremendously well educated.
Yeah, and she was a brilliant young woman, and she was super well liked in all the social.
She really was, yeah.
And
she did huge things for him on the social scale. Yeah.
She seemed to have an old soul, and she was a great first lady in comparison to some of the wackadoodles we have, the other ones we have.
So she campaigned huge for free kindergarten throughout America, started in New York. She was huge on education. But you know what? She campaigned against women's suffrage. She did not believe that women should have the right to vote, and she campaigned very hard against that. I know.
Yeah.
Which is bonkers.
As brilliant as she was. But I mean, that shows you the social climate of the time.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's painful to think about now.
Yeah.
But at the social climate, and that's the conversation I have with a lot of people. They're like, oh, this is terrible. This is terrible. But we're not in that social climate of the time.
Yeah.
So there's probably things we're doing right now that 100 years from now,
people will
it's
go,
going to be crazy.
What were they doing?
Yeah, I mean, the one that sticks out in my lifetime is the legalization, because I've been around a long time. I mean, the legalization of mixed marriages.
Yeah,
that wasn't legal until like 1967, 68.
Yeah, 1968 when the Commonwealth of Virginia finally, that was the last case.
It became legal around the country because of that.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds so asinine. Where African Americans couldn't drink from the same water fountains. That sounds so asinine. Think what that's going to sound like 100 years from now.
Yeah.
Gay marriage. That just became in the last 10 years.
Right. That's going to make us look like the worst. Yeah.
Think how stupid we're going to sound.
Yeah.
In that time frame.
Yeah.
So, I mean, so that's what I'm saying. I was like, no, we can't judge people of the social climate.
You can't go back. Yeah, you can't look at it with our 21st century eyes.
We have more information. We are a technology base compared to where we were 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Blake has access to stuff, where I'd have to go to an encyclopedia. I couldn't afford encyclopedias. We'd have to pull them out of the garbage.
Well, we used to have to leave the house and go to a library to get the book, and then when you got there, somebody already fucking checked the book.
Yeah. Like, and they never returned it.
No.
It was due on this day. No, it never came back on that day.
Back.
It's like Blockbuster. So no, but I could see that. But I mean, it's easy for us to judge it. But she seemed like a very intelligent woman.
She was incredibly intelligent.
So it seems like she would have fallen into that better strategy. So, but youngest first lady,
21.
Yeah. Only first lady to get married in the White House. Only first lady to have to move out and move back in. And move back in.
Yeah.
So
crazy.
All right. My other one is Dolly Madison. All right. So Dolly is very famous. She's actually the first lady to witness her husband being sworn in as president.
Wow.
Okay. Well, Jefferson didn't have a
first lady,
a wife at the time.
Yeah.
When Adams went in,
Abigail wasn't there.
It wasn't a big deal.
Yeah.
Abigail wasn't there. She was back home. And John Adams missed a lot of time as president because the love letters between him and Abigail are great.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever had a chance to watch it. And the documentary, not the documentary.
Oh, the HBO was great.
HBO, Giamatti did an amazing job with that. So if you get a chance to watch that, it's an interesting relationship, and it goes into their relationship a little bit, where she wanted to be home with the kids.
Yeah.
And she didn't think D.C. was a place for him.
Yeah.
But she eventually came. And then George Washington just happened within the Congress there.
Yeah.
Because at that time, when the first three presidents were there wasn't a public vote.
Nope.
So it was all by the electorals.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was no public vote. And a lot of people don't realize the first public vote happened on our sixth president, which was John Quincy Adams, and it totally screwed everything up.
Yeah. By the way, John Quincy Adams' wife was the first lady not born in America. She was the first she was born overseas.
Oh, wow.
And Melania Trump was the second one.
So it took that long.
Wow. Yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
Isn't it?
Yeah. But Dolly Madison, her biggest thing is during the War of 1812 and 1814, the British burnt down Washington, D.C., and she's the one who got credited with grabbing the Washington painting.
Oh, she saved the painting,
and all her husband's papers.
Yeah.
So I think the papers were probably more important than the painting, but the painting makes a better story.
It does make a better story, yeah.
So
she was also a famous hostess as well, right? Did a lot of parties.
Yeah, she really did. And she's got great little snack cakes.
Great snack cakes. Great snack cakes. So I'm going to talk about the most batshit crazy of all of our...
and I left her off my list, but I know who you're going with.
She was also, in comparison to her husband, the biggest disparity in height, because he was 6'4", 6'5". And
she was 5'2", 5'1".
She was 5'2". Mary Todd Lincoln.
Yeah.
Mary Todd Lincoln. Wealthy slave-owning Kentucky family. She had migraines. She had depression. Most people today think she was possibly... bipolar with maybe a touch of schizophrenia. She had manic, violent mood swings. She was had an acid tongue. She spent money like it was like she just blew up stuff. Like she meddled, she was disruptive, she spent money like crazy. She bought new china. Lincoln was so angry with her with how much money she spent redecorating the White House. And she was abusive to people. She was
not a nice person.
She was institutionalized in 1875 for a brief period. Like she had serious problems.
She did lose 2 children.
She did, yeah. Okay.
And she did lose two children, and she
was sitting beside her husband when he was assassinated.
She was sitting beside him, and she would hold weekly seances that every once in a while she would make Lincoln go to.
Yeah.
So, but my favorite, my most interesting story about Mary Todd is, do you know who was supposed to be sitting in the box at Ford Theater with her?
Grant and his wife?
Grant and his wife.
Yeah.
You know why they weren't there?
Oh, Grant's wife hazes her.
Grant's wife thought she was a batshit crazy
That's right. I forgot about that.
and faked a sickness. All right. And Grant held that guilt because he felt
Had he been there.
he could have stopped the assassination from happening.
But from what we know of Mary Todd Lincoln, do you blame Grant's wife for not
Yeah,
going?
no. It sounds like it was a legitimate reason to not go.
Yeah.
I mean, you've been married a little bit.
A little bit.
And you know, there's another couple, and if the wives don't match up or the women don't match up, don't go.
Don't go. You're like, it's over.
Grant took the high road.
He did you?
It's like, my wife's not feeling good.
Yeah.
But the real reason that other people are saying is she just couldn't stand Mary Todd.
Wow. I believe it.
Yeah.
Terrible person.
So, I mean, think of the scenario. I mean, it could have been Grant and Lincoln shot, or Grant saves Lincoln's life.
Yeah. Either way, it changes history.
It changes history. I mean, that's a quantum leap moment.
Wow. Quantum Leap. Ooh. I love that show, by the way.
It's a great show.
All right, who else you got?
All right, the last one I have, and because I know I'm trying to watch because I really want to get to the festival, but there's so many things that we could talk about with the first ladies. The last one I have is Edith Wilson,
All right.
Woodrow Wilson's second wife,
Second wife, okay.
and people don't realize Edith Wilson's power of how she changed the country.
Okay. I don't
All
know
right.
anything about her.
You don't know anything about her. Okay, so Woodrow Wilson has a stroke in 1919.
Okay.
The war is over. Edith Wilson's the only person that has contact with Woodrow Wilson for 2 years.
What?
He is in his hospital bed for 2 years. She goes in, pretends like he signs it. 9 times out of 10, they're pretty sure it was her signature. All right? You talk about women's suffrage.
Yeah.
When did women get to vote?
1920.
1920.
Yeah.
Guess who signed that?
Woodrow. Oh, really?
Edith Wilson.
Edith Wilson. Fuck off.
Yeah.
Really?
No one ever saw Wilson sign that. And Edith Wilson was an advocate of women's suffrage. And, rightfully so. And she also was a prohibition person and stuff like that, too. But Edith Wilson is our first and only woman president so far.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's a great story.
Yeah.
I didn't know that at all.
Yeah. So for 2 years, Woodrow Wilson was bedridden, and hardly anyone ever got to see him. Doctors did get to see him, but when it came to documents and government stuff, Edith controlled everything.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Imagine that today.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. Instagram, every TikTok it out. Yeah.
So I want to.
Yeah. We got time for one more first lady.
I'm going to do 2 quick ones.
Okay, you got 2.
Ones.
Okay,
2
good.
quick ones.
Cool.
So first one I'm going to do is Abigail Fillmore, Millard Fillmore's wife.
All right.
She'd been a teacher before she was first lady, and she convinced Congress to give her $2,000 in funding to create the White House Library. And it was a hard fight to get the money, hard fight to convince people. And today it's believed that the White House Library holds over 2 million editions. And it started with $2,000 with Abigail Fillmore.
So she started the library.
She started the library.
That's awesome.
And the last one I want to talk about is Helen Taft.
Oh, I see. I thought you were going to go with Eleanor Roosevelt.
Well, I have a lot of Roosevelt.
I left Eleanor out because I thought you were going to go with her.
I can do her too.
Okay. We got to talk about her, but go with Taft.
Yeah, Helen Taft. She's responsible for the Washington's cherry blossoms. So the whole cherry blossom festival and all that beautiful cherry blossoms in Washington, D.C. And if you've never been to the cherry blossom festival.
Oh, we have.
Holy mother of God.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
We stayed at the Willard.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Magic, right?
Yeah. And Lincoln, because of Mary Todd, still has a debt there.
That's right, he does, yeah. So the mayor of Tokyo gifted 3,000 saplings to the Tafts after they visited Tokyo because he really loved Helen Taft. She charmed him, and that's where all that came from. And I just thought, what a cool story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but she had the weight of the world on her.
She did have the weight of the world on her. Oh!
All right.
Do you want to talk about...
We got to talk about Eleanor Roosevelt.
All right, okay.
And there's a lot of strained marriages and stuff like that. But do you know what Eleanor Roosevelt's maiden name was?
Roosevelt.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, she married her cousin,
She married her cousin. And you know who gave her away at the wedding?
Teddy.
Teddy Roosevelt.
Her uncle.
Her uncle.
It was her direct uncle. She's fifth cousin with Franklin Delano Roosevelt. And but she actually took the first lady role to a very active situation because she was there during the wars.
She was.
And she had a newspaper syndicated
27 years she had a newspaper column.
until 1962.
Yeah, it's amazing. And she held female-only press conferences in the White House, and she actually really helped increase the number of female journalists throughout America, and because of that, helped guarantee females voted for her husband. Like she did so many of those cool things like that.
Yeah. She started it in 1936 when she was first lady, and it was called My Day.
My Day, yeah.
Yeah. So it was basically, she was the world's first blogger.
Yeah, she was.
She basically blogged every single day, and it was a syndicated article.
Do you know my favorite story about her?
What's that?
So she's the first lady to fly in an airplane.
Yes.
And she snuck out of a dinner in April of 1933, snuck out of the dinner with Amelia Earhart.
Oh, yeah. I did hear that.
And they went down to Hoover Field, which is where the Pentagon is today, and flew. And I love the fact that they snuck out of a fucking dinner.
Yeah.
And just went off and flew in a plane, landed in Baltimore, Maryland.
That's great.
And imagine today being able to do something like that. I think that's brilliant.
No, they're so under the microscope. So.
Yeah. She also helped draft the UN Declaration for Human Rights.
Yeah.
She was incredible.
Yeah. No.
There's books about her. You could talk about her when she went down to Birmingham, Alabama, 1938, and she sat with the black people, and they told her white people couldn't sit with blacks, and she challenged the segregation laws, and she took a ruler out, and she measured the distance between white folks and black folks, and sat in the middle. And they couldn't get her to move.
Yeah.
And
she's the first lady.
She was first lady, and it was like, nope, this is what I'm going to do.
Yeah. You don't like it? Tough.
Yeah.
All right. And I talked about the love story between the Adams. The Adams were married for 54 years. So at that point, it was, up until I think the Carters passed them. But that was the longest marriage between first ladies and presidents.
Wow.
So, all right. Beautiful. It's time for that ad break.
Ad break.
So we're going to talk about St. Augustine Pirate Museum. Amazing place, great tours, just wonderful people. You're not going to be disappointed.
I say this again and again and again. If you live in this town and you haven't been to the Pirate Museum, do yourself a favor. Take your kids to the Pirate Museum. It's incredible.
It's
incredible.
Crazy how much stuff they have in there, and he's collected along the way, and the vision he had going into this. So Pat Croce brought this museum up from Key West, and we're so happy he did.
Yeah. Meehan's Irish Pub. Look at people. It's the best pub in town. It's on the bayfront, 3 bars in one. I have, as I've said before on this show, paid a tab and come back 3 or 4 days later to realise that I had a tab at the other 2 bars.
The other bars.
It happens. They have the best pint of Guinness this side of Ireland. The nicest people. Reggie Maggs is a class act, the man that runs the place. It's the best. The food's amazing. Go there. Get yourself a Tommy Dolan burger. Sit in one of the great bars. Enjoy the view. It's brilliant.
Yeah. Beacon Listening Room. Great food. Great music. Great booze.
Everything.
Great everything. Come see me on Wednesday night, but make sure you reserve your table because we did have some people that had to get turned away last night.
Yeah.
So, Gypsy Cab. It's a classic.
It's a classic.
I'm telling you, I ate there this week. I ate lunch there yesterday, and I did the cheese spandini appetizer.
You do like the cheese spandini.
Cheese spandini. It's my favorite app in town, and I was like, you know what? I really need this. I'm not a big salad guy, but I love the salad there because of their amazing dressing.
Yeah.
So it was so good. Always a delight. I did see Ned over there. So.
Nice.
The guy who started everything there. All right. The other one is Abare, Kresge and Associates. These guys are the best accountants in town. That's all we got to say.
Best accountants in town. It's as simple as that. It's tax season. Everybody needs help. Go see Abare, Kresge and Associates.
Yeah. See my man Bill. He'll take care of you. All right.
900 degree pizza and pasta. It's on Lewis Speedway. It's over by the high school. Look if you're picking up your kids, if you're at a high school event, Go there or call in advance. The pizza is incredible.
Yeah.
It is absolutely incredible.
And they have plenty of dining space too.
Yes, they do.
You don't have to. It's not just a snatch and grab place.
No, it's a cool
you can
place.
sit down and enjoy it. Great owners, like we talked about, and that's the beauty of all our sponsors. They're all involved in the community.
Yeah, they
They're all
are.
here local. Buy local, support local.
Yeah.
All right. City Gates Distillery and St. Augustine Distillery, two of the best tours in town. They have tastings, daily tastings. Just love them. I picked up our samples just this week, and the lovely ladies there at the gift shop at the St. Augustine Distillery. Their gift shop is amazing.
Incredible. Look if you haven't been, I was in over Christmas. The City Gates Distillery is absolutely amazing. There's so many cool things down there. We did City Gates Distillery, I think I said this before, but over the break we did the St. Augustine Distillery, and then we went upstairs and ate at the ice plant.
Yeah.
The whole family. It was beautiful. It's beautiful.
And I can tell you right now, if you're looking for a gift for dad or even mom, I mean, a gift card from either one of these two,
Perfect.
They're gonna use it. They're gonna love it.
Yeah.
So
it's absolutely perfect.
all right, guess what time it is? It's time for festivals. Festivals.
Okay, I'm going to let you begin because I know that you have one that is near and dear to your heart.
All right, I got to start with the one that I would love to bring back. All right, and I'm a little biased about it.
Fair
'cause
enough.
I was involved with it, but it's to me the most fun I've had in a festival, and it almost killed me. All right, it sounds that crazy, but it almost killed me, and that's Winter Wonderland. So I would love
Oh, the almost definitely killed me as well. Going down.
going down that's a toboggan ride.
The toboggan ride.
Yeah,
It was great fun.
I didn't think that through real well.
No, by
because-
the way, I appreciate the fact that you didn't think it through.
I didn't think that one through. It was much safer the second year.
Yes, it was.
All right, but the first year, what we
Tell
did,
people, because a lot of people don't know. Where was it?
it was at the amphitheater.
It was at the amphitheater.
So in 2007, we're like, okay, we have a dead time. We need to figure out a way to keep people and get them interested in the amphitheater, get them going in the amphitheater. Ryan Detcher came to me and said, hey, I'd like to do an ice skating rink. I was like, oh, we can't just do an ice skating rink. I was like, what if we did an elf village? Okay, let's do an elf village. So we started building these little elf villages. And then like, okay, we'll have Santa here. What if we did carriage rides? Oh, yeah. So we have a contract for the carriage rides. All right. And we had a s'mores pit for that. Second year, we're like, okay, we got to do something bigger. Second year, we're like, we're going to do a toboggan ride. Never been done. A man-made toboggan ride had never been done at that point. So I believe I'm at a fair, and I see this slide where you sit on like little burlap bags and you go down.
And you're thinking, well, you could do that on ice.
We converted one of those. It was 100% one of those.
I went down the fucking thing.
Yeah. How fast was it?
Oh, fuck me, it was fast.
Well, we had to figure out, because we ended up with that one, we started with regular like sleds and stuff like that, and that was way too fast.
Yo,
So we ended up making sleds that kind of fit in there. But the problem was if you had any significant weight to you
Oh my God.
and you hit it on the right day, you went airborne.
You launched, yeah.
You went airborne.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say there was a couple injuries.
Yeah.
There was a couple. There was a couple injuries, but we figured out how to do it by the third year. It was all safe at that point. But that second year, every phone call I got was like, "Don't let it be the amphitheater. Don't let it be the amphitheater."
Yeah.
But I mean, we had an ice rink
Yeah.
in St. Augustine
Yeah.
for over 30 days.
I have so many pictures of my eldest son Jack in the elf village.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that 09, 010, 2011, like it was magic. Just
Yeah.
little pictures of him in the elf village.
Well, and one of the things we did way before our time, and people don't realize what we did, is we did Christmas cards.
Yeah.
Where you could stand the kids up and you stood in front of it. We created an Instagram moment
That's right.
before there was even a freaking Instagram.
Yeah.
And you
So
know,
why did it go away?
well, I was no longer, I retired.
That's right.
You know, and I left. There was one more year beyond it. It wasn't extremely profitable. It didn't lose money, but it was so much fun.
Yeah.
And it was so good for the community. And we made it snow like,
Oh, I know.
you know,
It was
on the hour.
incredible.
We had a video screen and we had, you know, Christmas movies playing in the background and music playing the entire time. I mean, it was just one of those moments where I was like, gosh, I just love this town.
Yeah.
And it went away after I left. And then, I would really love
To bring it back.
to bring it back. Maybe they'll do it for like the 20th anniversary or something like
Maybe
that,
so.
which is in 27.
Yeah.
So, because we did it, and the first year we did it, we couldn't get the ice to freeze.
Oh, I remember.
And it was pretty rough. And on Thanksgiving Day, because we opened on the day after Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
I missed all of Thanksgiving at the house of 2007. I think I missed most of Thanksgivings when it was Winter Wonderland. So yeah, you guys had to come over and see me at the work, because there was only 4 of us working at that time.
Wow.
The amphitheater's got a little bigger staff now.
Yeah.
So there was only 4 of us. I mean, Tommy Bledsoe, Janai.
Hey, I love Tommy Bledsoe.
And Ryan Detra and myself, and everything else was volunteers. And it was pure chaos. The first night we did it, we're like, we don't know how many's going to show up, and like 4,000 people showed up. 4 of us.
Fuck. Tommy Bledsoe's a hell of a dude.
He's a great guy.
Great guy.
But hey, I can tell you this: Winter Wonderland's the reason he left the amphitheater. I can swear on a stack of Bibles. He got a great job in the school district that was perfect
did,
for him, and
yeah.
he did an amazing job. But Winter Wonderland is the reason I lost Tommy Bledsoe.
We broke Tommy Bledsoe.
Yeah. So Winter Wonderland is my favorite festival we've had in St. Augustine.
So this means
let me go down the slide by myself.
You crashed.
You're still here.
You didn't break anything.
You're fine.
You crashed into the hay bales. You're fine.
Suck it up, Buttercup.
That's pretty much what I told him too. That's the words I used. 3 words. Suck it up.
So my favorite festival in town currently will not in any way, shape, or form surprise you. Mm-hmm. It is, of course, the Celtic Festival.
I thought it was going to be the Bacon Festival.
And I was involved in the first couple of Celtic festivals.
Yeah.
Started in 2001. I think it was about 1,500 people showed up at the first one. Yeah. 2011, not 2001, sorry. 2011. And the last couple have had over 20,000 people, right? They also brought back the St. Patrick's Day Parade.
Yeah.
Kind of cool like
I
that.
I was lucky enough to MC that a couple of times.
Yeah. I emceed the original couple of Celtic festivals.
Okay.
And then I lost my job, right? Now,
I lost my job too. They switched up people running it, and I wasn't asked back.
that's what happened to me.
I don't know
too.
what happened.
So originally,
I don't know what happened.
the original person who was running it was John Meehan.
Yeah.
Of Meehan's.
Yeah.
John Meehan, one of the nicest men that I have ever met. Mm-hmm. What a fucking great guy. Terribly sad. You know, John died of cancer. He was
really sad.
just a great guy. Celtic Festival, but let's not kid ourselves here. It's a fucking Irish festival.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But maybe a touch of Scottish. They throw in the Celtic thing to say, like, the Isle of Man is Celtic. Galicia in Spain is Celtic. You know, Brittany in France is Celtic. Cornwall in England is Celtic.
Nope.
Sure they are. And I'm 9 foot tall and can dunk a basketball.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, I was the original host.
You need a couple more beers.
I was the original MC. Do you know who I lost my job to? Do you know who is the MC now?
You lost your leprechaun outfit.
Do you know who's the MC now? The very Celtic and very Irish. And I'm taking the piss here a little because he's a great guy. But Chad Light.
Chad! I love Chad! I love Chad! But why is he
He got my job!
Okay.
And Chad, I'm not happy about it.
So you're not
At
going to
least
show
I
up?
had some Irish in me.
Okay, then so you're not going to show up to the movie premiere then? Okay, good to know.
Well, yeah, Chad wrote the movie for me, and he stars in the movie.
Oh, he's a great
And
guy.
he's great. He's awesome, and he's great on the mic. But he's not Celtic.
He's down. No.
He says
But
no Irish.
you know what?
And my family's mostly from Wales, and then Ireland and England all mixed in.
Oh, except
Did you ever do the 23andMe?
Nope.
All right.
I don't need to do it.
Yeah, mine came back. Okay, and you know how a pie chart looks like this, all right? Pie chart looks like that, all right? You can't see that on camera.
Yeah, but I'm watching right here.
All
It's
right?
happening.
He's watching right now. Normally, you'd have a different color pie.
Uh-huh.
It kind of looked like that. Like you have, these are 4 different, mine looked like this. One color.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody I had was probably within a 200-mile range in my entire history. Now, my family came from Indiana, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, but they all came from that region.
That region right there.
Yeah.
So I never did it because 8 generations of my father's family were baptized in the church across the street from where I grew up.
Yeah.
So I don't think I need
You're
to.
pretty sure you got it.
Fairly fucking sure.
So the city you grew up in, did you have to ask, they related?
no, we
Before you
knew.
dated? Before you dated?
We knew. We were all related.
Yeah.
But anyway, so the Celtic Festival, look, I still do all their... I still do all the ads for them. I still do all the radio ads. I still do all the bits
Yeah.
for them. You know, Albert's a great guy. Albert Silas and all those guys that run it.
Yeah, the
but for
Ramonza
fuck's
group.
sake, Chad Light, he stole my job.
Chad's busy. He might be on set this year.
He might be.
You might be good. You might be back in this year.
All right, give me another festival.
All right. So the other festival, the one that used to be like the biggest of big, took place the first week of September, right after Labor Day, and that was the Days of Spain.
Days of Spain. Yeah, and it doesn't happen anymore.
It doesn't happen anymore.
And it,
So like the 450th would have fallen within
the Days
the
of
Days
Spain.
of Spain.
And when
and
did it stop?
I could not find out
Because
exactly
I
when
remember
it.
it when I first came here.
Yeah.
So it's in the
But
last
it
30
was,
years.
it had already fallen apart at that point. It
Yeah.
used to be Mac Daddy, the city was, when Flagler was here, like in the early 1900s, that was the real deal.
Yeah.
And it was just for locals, because the tourists hadn't really got here yet. They start coming in October. So it happened in September. It happened September 8th is our city's birthday or whatever
Yeah.
it is. So it all revolved around that. And the Days of Spain just completely fell apart. But there used to be like high musical. Before we had the amphitheater, we didn't get music here.
Yeah.
Like we get, what is it? We get Eddie Money, old, not like in his prime Eddie Money.
Yeah.
We're talking like he did a couple of shots and let's see if he can play a guitar still Eddie Money.
Yeah.
So before that there wasn't like big, but Days of Spain, there was true entertainment. There was true, it was like a festival, what a festival was supposed to be, and it fell apart. And I can't figure out why it fell apart.
And we should
Yeah.
have something every year for the founding of the city.
And
should be.
And the sad part is all of mine are pretty much in the past. So I guess I need to catch up to the future.
You do.
Yeah.
Get to the future. I'm gonna give a little shout out to another of my favorite. It's my wife's favorite, and we're still mad that it's gone away, and we don't really understand why it went away. But the Great Chowder Debate.
Oh, yeah.
The Great Chowder Debate.
Yeah,
At the
and
concourse.
I have a little bit of knowledge of how it went away. It was an ownership, and the nonprofit group couldn't come to terms with it. They each tried to do their own thing. When they tried to do their own thing, it didn't really work, and then COVID hit and some of the other stuff. There was a decent one after that, but
Can we just say we would love?
I love the chowder.
We would love for the Chowder Debate to come back. It ran from 1984 till 2019.
Yeah.
And it was amazing.
Yeah.
At the concourse, there were thousands of people there.
I love it. It was a local one too. That's what I loved about it so much. Is like you literally would be like, hey, what'd you try? Okay, I'm going to try that, and you knew the person standing beside you in line.
I would stand. I remember we would go right when it opened, 11 o'clock, and then I would stand in one spot, and Julie they would all do the chowder room, and I would stand, and stuff would be brought back to me. But my job was standing, and I went under the one tree with shade. And if you stood there, I'm not joking you, I would run into genuinely probably 200 people.
Yeah.
I knew by just not moving, and it was just a swirling, lovely, mad, beautiful day, and I want it back. So. Can we have the Chowder Debate back?
Let's work on the chowder debate,
Please.
I think that needs to happen.
It does.
And we would get a hotel room at the thing because I don't drink beer.
Yeah.
They didn't really serve anything but beer there.
That's right.
So we had to set up our own bar. So we had to get our own hotel room there. So my buddy Dougie would always get a hotel room. We'd throw the party over there, go get the drinks, reload, come back, So
Fantastic.
yeah. So
Great festival.
yeah, one of the funniest things that did happen in Vegas is, so we're in Vegas and but I ran into like 5 people I knew there from St. Augustine. Just walking through the venue.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So it's like, is everybody here from St. Augustine? So
I had one of those moments. So this weekend, I was in Tryon, North Carolina.
gotcha.
And I ran into an Irish guy. And Tryon is a population of about 1,200 people.
Yeah. They have a chalkboard instead of a sign that says the population number.
And I ran into this Irish guy there. And he was a few years older than me. And we started talking. And his nephews went to the same school that I did.
Oh, really?
And suddenly we're having this whole moment, and then we're playing Who Do You Know? And fuck me, did we know?
You know a lot of
a lot of
you know
people.
A lot of them. So,
Yeah.
so
Okay.
all right.
You got another one?
Yeah, I got another one, and I'm going to go with one that's more recent because I've sounded like a negative Nelly, but I've decided to switch up.
Aw.
Okay, I got to give props to Janetta and the As If Festival.
Oh, the As If Festival is tremendous.
Yeah. So and it's unfortunately Coolio has passed.
Yes, yeah.
You know, we sponsor the As If with Janetta, so we work with Janetta with the hotels and stuff like that. So she hooks me up pretty well, and I can tell you right now.
So a lot of people still don't know. What is the As If Festival?
So it's a 90s festival. So it's a festival about 90s music. And they've done an amazing job. They always put on a fun event. Last year, it was like, it looked like it was going to pour down rain. And Janetta's like, nope, not going to rain. We're like, are you going to cancel? She's like, nope. Not going to rain. And it didn't rain.
Yeah.
As soon as the concert was over, poured down rain. So, I mean, the As If Festival to me is probably my newest favorite one. I was going to talk about the Indian powwow that used to take place.
Wow.
Here on it was at Francis Field also when there were softball fields, and that was a fun event. And the Rhythm and Ribs.
Rhythm and Ribs is great.
But I can tell you, I think my new favorite one is the As If
Festival.
Yeah. So what's your opinion on the crawfish festival?
All right. So I did a crawfish festival in 2008, 2009. I had Snoop Dogg there. I had
I remember when Snoop Dogg was there. It was the
President-
same week as the TPC.
Presidents of the United States of
Yeah.
America. I had Three Doors Down. I had G Love. I had
Snoop Dogg played at Francis Field. If
Yeah.
people don't know this,
yeah.
I know it because I came from TPC and I'm drunk coming from TPC on that Saturday, and I lobbed into fucking Francis Field for Snoop Dogg. And I did
It
not.
was actually a Friday night. It was Friday night. He played Friday night. Three Doors played on Saturday. But on
My
Friday,
condition did not improve. I can tell you that.
on Friday night, I did Snoop Dogg, and he was my only artist that was a hip hop artist. All right, all the other artists were equally as loud, probably cussed more than him because I had in there you couldn't cuss unless it was in your lyrics.
Yeah.
In the contract. Snoop Dogg was crushing it. He was just I mean, he put on a great show.
Great show.
I had to take that event. I had to take 2 IVs because I almost collapsed twice. Like they caught me because I was just that exhausted. And Snoop Dogg at the end of his show, he really didn't cuss that much. And G Love cussed the entire. I almost didn't pay G Love. G Love had to write me a letter of apology from that event before I'd send him the check. That's how pissed I was at him. I made him. I made him apologize before I released the check. But Snoop Dogg, he didn't really cuss a whole lot while he was doing it. But the last sentence he said is, "Good night. Smoke more motherfucking weed."
Yeah. And that killed that festival right there.
It's the only time TMZ ever called me. Because they heard rumor that Snoop Dogg got arrested. So the next day in the paper, it was like, this was when like 17 people bought the record instead of 6. And next day in the paper, it was like Snoop Dogg, everything was busted on Snoop Dogg. And my phone rang and rang and rang all night long. And it was because because he was the only minority in the entire group.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, you can say what you want, but that's
a fact.
that was the reason.
So I'm
because
gonna
the other guys cussed just as much as him, but they knew his name, they knew he smoked pot, and that was the reason that he got attacked.
So the festival I would like to bring back, and I'm saying this to the city fathers right now. This festival was first held in 1885. And it was held 18 times from 1885 till 1930.
Okay.
Sometimes it ran back-to-back years, sometimes it didn't, right? But it was the Ponce de Leon celebration.
Okay.
The first time it ran, it was always in early April or late March. It was to celebrate when Ponce de Leon supposedly came to St. Augustine in 1513.
At the 38th parallel.
Right? That kind of thing. The first time it ran in 1885... it just featured the arrival of Ponce de Leon, right? over the years, then they added things, and it was a 4 or 5 day festival. By 1910, they were doing, the first day was the Ponce de Leon arrival, and they were adding in Menendez's founding of the city in 1565, and then they were doing Drake's sacking of the town. And then you roll it on a few more years later, and they were finishing the festival with Oglethorpe's siege of the city from 1740. Okay?
Yeah. That where they burnt down the town.
When they burnt down the town.
Yeah.
The 1927 celebration, the Bridge Alliance opening was tied into the Ponce de Leon celebration.
They did a walking across the bridge.
Yeah. Now, it was originally organized by the St. Augustine Yacht Club.
Okay.
Flagler was a member of the St. Augustine Yacht Club. Flagler was in town for the first Ponce de Leon festival in 1885. And I did this deep dive.
He hadn't even opened the Ponce yet.
The Ponce
opened in 1888.
Yeah. From what I was reading this week, and I read about 90 fucking pages of different documents this week. Mark Little turned me on to Charles Tingley, who you know.
Yes.
And then I went down the rabbit hole of some documents.
Yeah.
A lot of from what I was reading was, Flagler first came here in 1883.
Yes.
He was here in 1885 for the festival with his second wife.
He was probably staying at the San Marco Hotel.
Right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that the whole 1885 to sort of 1901 focused on the Ponce de Leon. There's a reason he names the hotel. But the whole celebration from 1885 until about 1901 is all about the Spanish history in St. Augustine. They do this whole celebration of Florida history up until we become a state in 1821.
Yeah. We become a state in 1845. We became a territory in
1821. We basically deny the fact that anything to do with the Confederacy ever happened because we were a small, sleepy Spanish town. There's no mention of what happened in the Civil War, right? This idea is because we're doing this Ponce de Leon celebration, we're doing this whole thing, and people suddenly realize that we can attract rich northern tourists.
Yeah.
But we can't talk about the South, can't talk about the Confederacy, can't fly the Confederate flag. And it's a hit. And then Flagler builds the hotel. And it's all tied into, right, so we're going to sell this town as the Spanish town.
Yeah.
Right? And this is the Ponce de Leon celebration. By 1907, like 1885, do you know who played Ponce de Leon in 1885? Frank Genovar. Right? The names of the people who played the prominent people. There was Capos who played Ponce de Leon. Genovars played him, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's incredible. Drysdales were involved.
Yeah.
Like, you go down through the old families
Well,
here.
the Genovar family, I think they owned the Opera House at that time.
They maybe did. By 1907, they were adding in Native Americans. The shit they made up about Native Americans. The stuff they made up about meeting Ponce and meeting Menendez.
Well, they screwed up on the statue of Ponce de Leon, and it made him like 4'11".
Yeah, they did.
And then the story said, that's his actual size, is what the guy who made the statue was. He was actually, when they exhumed his body, he was 5'7".
Yeah. Right? When you hear this though, right? By 1909, they added the Oglethorpe thing, and they added an imaginary Indian attack on white settlers. Never happened.
Yeah.
1913, 400th anniversary of Ponce de Leon coming in, right?
Yeah.
The Florida legislature promised $50,000. Okay. 1913.
That's a lot of money.
If the city fathers could raise $200,000, and they were trying to raise it to do this huge 400th anniversary. 400th anniversary of the founding of, right? Because it was all like, we were here before. Founding of Florida. But we were here before the New England, Jamestown people. Yeah. This is where America began.
Even 1565 beat that. So.
Right?
Yeah.
But they're really trying to work on this. But of course, then the money didn't come through. So then they canceled it. Then they tried to market it again. Eventually went in there as a scaled down version, right? Then the war comes in. Doesn't happen again until 1923. Right?
Yeah.
The last one was 1930, right? It ends, the Great Depression kicks in. That's it, never comes back. But I want to share this with you. Now, I read several different reports.
What time of year did they do this?
It's late March or early April.
Okay, so
to celebrate coming in, right? I want to read this to you. Now, there's conflict depending on whether it's 1925 or 1927.
Oh, you were at the historic.
But this really happened. Okay? Now, I'm going to put the glasses on and everything for this.
Oh, see, you got your cheaters on too.
1925 or 1927. We had 500 people in costume for this event.
That's beautiful.
200 people on horseback. 200 people on horseback. All right?
That sounds kind of shitty.
A small bleacher set up for spectators on the fort green, right? Spectators, huge, scattering of men dressed in Spanish uniform, few women dressed, right? They had made up names that they created Indian princesses.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, bullshit.
It was for
Doesn't matter,
all for the
right?
Yankees.
This guy goes, right, so it's a woman called Ruth Kirk was talking about this, right? We heard a deep thrumming sound somewhere west of us. As we listened, it became louder. Then we heard shouts and a rebel yell. The thumping was the horses crossing the San Sebastian wooden bridge on King Street. My mother pulled me out of the line for safety, and we headed to the area near Water Street. I was furious to give up my place, but shortly after I saw a troop of horses with wild-looking Indians astride, urging the horses on at full speed. They came down Orange Street, crossing the fort grounds at the city gates, whooping and shouting with vigor, heading straight for the crowd, scattering hundreds of people in different directions. Those who had been lucky enough to get seats in the bleachers panicked, abandoning their seats and running in all directions. The horses came at the crowd full speed. Bare-chested riders looking very much like provoked Indians on the warpath, swept across the fort green, even chasing some of the viewers as they ran towards the fort. My mother urged me towards Water Street. We found our way to San Marco Avenue, across the San Marco lot, back to Orange Street where we lived. When my father came home, we told him of our experience. He found it hilarious. Later he told us some creative Indians had introduced the tribe on horseback to moonshine liquor during Prohibition that was made up in Palm Valley. Evidently, it was a huge success because the men lost all inhibitions and took their Indian role seriously.
They were painting the town red.
Yes, they were. At the next city council meeting, it was decided to skip the next year's Ponce de Leon celebration.
Wow. So that's how it ended. No, it came back in 30.
It came back in 30 and then died. But can you imagine 200 people dressed as Native Americans, drunk on moonshine?
There were less than that at the Boston Tea Party. Hey, you know what? That's the end of our show. We actually went over, but that was great. That was wonderful. And you guys go to the St. Augustine Historic Society and their museum. They just, I mean, I am a trustee now. I don't. What was it? Mark Twain said, "Any club that's willing to have me, I'm not sure I want to be a part of."
Yeah. But, that's exactly it.
But they just have such amazing stuff, and I get so much information from them. And I see the book that you have. I know exactly where that one came from.
Yeah.
But they do a beautiful job. I want to say thank you to all you guys out there. Make sure you hit that share button.
Yeah, hit the share button.
And we'll be back here next week at 6:34. If you want to hear us talk about something particular, reach out to us. Hit us on the Facebook. Hit us on Messenger. Let us know what you want us to talk about.
We'll see you next week.
This is Bollox Talks and Tangents. We'll see you next week.